Okay, so it is official that Kang the Conqueror is no longer going to be in the MCU or the big bad of the MCU for the multiverse saga. It turns out that Doctor Doom is going to be the main antagonist, and who is playing Doctor Duvon in the MCU? No other than Robert Downey Jr. Now, at the same time, I'm looking at this as it's somewhat of a good thing, but there's part of me that's kind of a little bit disappointed. I don't know what to feel about this. So, anyways, to talk about this, some people know Iron Man, aka Robert Downey Jr. Like everybody knows that Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man in the live action MCU, which was the birth of live action Marvel, and therefore he went for about 11 years playing, and now he's returning to the MCU, but as a grand villain. And so, therefore, he's gonna like. I have a feeling that they're gonna bring like three more versions. More likely, it's gonna be like a bit CGI, just like CW's Flash a little bit. And I kind of part of myself is not gonna like this a little bit, considering that some levels are gonna have a little bit of CW Flash type stuff. If you think about it, because you got Superior Iron Man, and then you got Tony Stark's Iron Man, and then you got Robert Downey Jr. playing the villain known as Doctor Doom, and which hey, it's just gonna look a bit like a little bit of somewhat of CW Flash a little bit, but on the other note, I think there's like a bit of people who are excited about this and some that are a bit disappointed. So to tell you guys the original plan for Avengers 5, I'm gonna walk you guys through this. More rather, I'm gonna tell you what the original plan was. So yeah. So the original plan is that Kang the Conqueror was going to be the big bad of the MCU for the multiverse saga. But due to what happened with the actor himself, he's no longer in the movie. He's no longer going to be the big bad of the MCU, which is unfortunate, but hey, we have to do something about this, right? We can't like even if we were to replace an actor with a new fresh face of an actor for Kang, I don't think it would have been the same that it was. Not to mention, you do not put your big bad villain in an Ant-Man film. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to diss the movie. I mean, but the film was pretty bad. All right, I think we half of us and all I think all of us can agree that Ant-Man 3 kind of was not right, considering Kang got done dirty and is no longer in the MCU. I mean, well, we all know what happened with the actor, but Loki season 1 introduced He Who Remains, therefore introducing a bunch of Kang variants. And then Ant-Man 3 had done him what was done bad. They had done really bad, all right? Not to mention, the original plan that I heard is that the original plan that they were supposed to release Loki season 2 before Ant-Man Quantumania came out. Then it would have made a lot of sense to why the multiversal crisis is happening. But either way, Loki season 2, it was good. They found a way to write Kang out of the MCU, which people are fine with it. I know that. I mean, I was somewhat having hope that Kang would still be the main antagonist, but yeah. It seems like it's no longer going to happen. It seems like Kang is no longer in the MCU. And now we got Doctor Doom, and I'm hoping we still get to see the Beyonder in Secret Wars, or a little bit of a teaser of the Beyonder in Doomsday. And I guess this is what people would say. You either live long enough to see yourself become the villain. So, pretty much Robert Downey Jr. played the role as Iron Man and is now playing the role as Doctor Doom. Now, to give a little bit, Iron Man was a little bit of an anti-hero. I mean, I know some of us would see Iron Man as an Avenger, a superhero, some kind of thing like that. But the thing is, he was kind of a villain a little bit. I mean, considering of what happened back years ago in the MCU, where he created the Mandalorian, therefore like the people burning on fire. I watched Iron Man 3, but I kind of but I have no memory. I kind of can't remember. But all I do know is that there were people on fire. Then the name Mandalorian just pops up in my head. So forgive me if I butcher a little bit of the Iron Man 3 story. So yeah. But as we all know, because Iron Man had nightmares and he was given PTSD, he thought the best way to protect the world, and because Scarlet Witch managed to get inside his head in the MCU, therefore seeing his nightmare on what would happen with the world, therefore causing Iron Man to create Ultron and for the Sokovia Accords to happen, which caused Captain America and Iron Man's Civil War fight, and the Avengers team to disbandle from each other. And Iron Man was able to figure out time travel, so therefore, Iron Man would have been the prime antagonist. Doctor Strange was like there is theory that Doctor Strange was trying to find a way to put Tony Stark to sleep, like like have him gone. But there's theory that the reason why he knew about this, the only way to win against Thanos and his entire army was to first be blipped out of the timeline, let Thanos win, and then let Tony Stark figure all this out. But Doctor Strange, I think Doctor Strange, there was theory that Doctor Strange had knew that Tony Stark would become a villain, so therefore, his PTSD would have came back. He would have became Superior Iron Man if he would still been alive, and therefore, things would have not been the same if Iron Man had stayed alive. And now some of us are looking at this as if this is a good thing. But I'm going to walk you guys through the based comics of Dr. Duvon, aka Dr. Doom. So yeah. So we all know that Dr. Doom, he's most powerful, a genius character in which some people theorize, like throughout different comic books in history of Marvel comics, that he's just a little bit like Tony Stark. Well, more powerful than anyone if they were to try to stand up. Whether you have a symbiote, whether you have the power of Asgard, whether you have powers through cosmic space, nobody can beat Doctor Doom. So pretty much he's more powerful. And he's quite literally the threat for the Beyonder. He's quite the threat beyond the Beyonder, honestly. So I will honestly say I think that Robert Downey Jr. playing the role as a little bit of a villain, and some people are complaining about this as if this is a money grabber. Like in the comics, that Doctor Doom originally in Secret Wars was the main antagonist throughout Secret Wars back then in the comics, pretty much gathering every single world, parts of the world, and forming Battle World for the Avengers to fight for their own worlds, as we all know, in which that will be tied in for Secret Wars for Avengers 6. And so therefore, yeah. So therefore, Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr., I think for me it's somewhat good, but it's somewhat bad. I mean, hey, then again, he could be a variant of Iron Man. Because there are theories in the comics saying that Doctor Doom is Iron Man, Doctor Duvon is Iron Man. This could be a variant of Iron Man from a different universe. I mean, for all I know, he could be teased at the end of Fantastic Four that is supposed to come out next year. Note, I kind of know a little bit about this. I mean, I've mostly been way too busy a bit for Ninjago, so I'm sorry about this. I am a fan of Marvel, don't get me wrong. I do like Marvel. I think it's pretty great. But I think some people were just disappointed on how Kang was just sidelined and how Marvel just had a bit of expectations for the character for Kang the Conqueror to be a big antagonist for the multiverse saga. And then some of us are just happy that we got a new threat for the MCU. What MCU fans will see is Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr. And what some fans will see is that Robert Downey Jr. was not played, and some people are probably going to be complaining about this film, and some people are already complaining about the idea of this being that it's going to be like CW's level of Flash, considering that they're going to bring in Superior Iron Man, they're going to bring in the original Iron Man. At this point, like I'm hoping for the casting for Superior Iron Man would be played by Tom Cruise. So yeah, that's pretty much what everybody's hoping for. So yeah. Forgive me if I butcher a bit of the knowledge of Marvel. I only have a little bit of what I know about. I've also been focused on a lot of things, Ninjago, DC, and Marvel. So, all things considered, yeah. So, therefore, people complaining about the idea, some of us being happy about it. Hey, for me personally, if I were to be asked this, I'm just glad we're getting an Avengers 5 and 6. I really am. We'll see how this all turns out. So, yeah. With that being said, peace.